Now at 9, the Joplin Police Department offers tips on how to navigate around bridge construction on Range Line.
Even with a drop in gas prices, inflation is still running at a historic rate. I'm Alexandria Hoff in Washington. I'll take a closer look at some of the numbers coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Aubie. Joplin Police say the bridge construction project going on right there on South Range Line Road is causing some traffic issues. To help, the Joplin Police Department is offering tips on navigating around it. They say not to use a parking lot as a detour. Okay, that's first and foremost. Also, don't make U-turns after a lane restriction or drive between cones. Officers are going to be watching how the traffic flows very closely.
In cars that are cutting through business parking lots because they don't want to wait for a stoplight, or they're trying to go around the cones, which those cones are in place for a reason, and it's against the law to go around those cones. You can be cited, and we're looking at that very carefully to make sure that we're dealing with those. We want to keep you safe, and we want to keep the construction workers that are out trying to get this project done for us. We want to keep them safe. They deserve to go home as well.
Perhaps the most important thing to remember is take it slowly in construction zones to make sure everyone makes it home safely. Southeast Kansas has some of the highest unemployment rates in the state. According to the Kansas Works Department, as of July 2022, the unemployment rate in the state of Kansas was 2.4%. Cherokee County has an unemployment rate of 3.4%. Crawford County is at 3.9%. Labette County's at 4.1%, and Bourbon sits at 4.2%. Now, despite the higher unemployment rates, there are many job postings in the region. Cherokee County, for example, has 165 postings. Crawford has 316, Labette 200, finally Bourbon with 56. Meteorologist Doug Katie joining us now. First look at the forecast. Temperatures are starting to go back up there, man.
Yeah, a little bit. We're just kind of inching upward over the past couple days, and that's what we're going to do over the next few days. 89 today, normal highs 83, record high 100 set back in 2011, and it looks pretty good though for us right now. We have clear skies. We have clear skies across the entire Central Plains, so it's going to be quiet as we go through the overnight hours tonight. 75 Nevada, 68 Miami, Chattanooga sitting at about 76 degrees. By morning, 61, 75 by 9 by noon, 84 and a high temp right around 90. We're going to look and see if there's any rain chances here in just a bit.
Doug, thanks as always. Despite several lawsuits challenging it, legalizing marijuana remains on the ballot for Missouri this November. Today, a Missouri Supreme Court ruling essentially denies a challenge of signatures on the ballot initiative and upholds the certification. Today was the statutory deadline for ballot changes in the Show Me State. The election, by the way, is on November 8th. Kansas Governor Lori Kelly today announced a $9 million grant to improve student behavioral health in southeast Kansas. The funding is going to spread out over 5 years, be administered through the Department of Pediatrics at KU School of Med to fund CanAware. CanAware will integrate school-based community health workers into its behavioral health support system for students and families in need. Oklahoma could expand pregnancy and postpartum services. Governor Kevin Stitt, along with a Helping Every Life and Parent Task Force, unanimously recommended the Oklahoma Health Care Authority expand coverage for Sooner Care members. Two major policies were proposed. One would increase Oklahoma's income threshold for full scope pregnancy related benefits from 138% to 205% of the federal poverty level. The other policy would provide new mothers with up to 12 months of continuous postpartum coverage. You can find more information on the proposed services at our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Heads up here, Neosho PD is warning residents of a scam that has cost some citizens thousands. Sergeant Tomlinson with PD says callers claim to be with government agencies like the FBI and IRS. The scammers use the name of those agencies and other scare tactics to try to take people's money.
What they've been doing recently is requesting gift cards from various stores such as Walgreens, Come and Go, Lowe's, places like that. They'll have the victim buy these cards and provide the card number, and that's how they get the information. They pull the money off of the card.
Now, authorities say if you do get any calls like this, just contact police no matter where you live immediately so that they know what's going on. Major sell-off on Wall Street today following yet another sizzling hot inflation report. The number higher than most economists predicted, prompting fresh concerns, though, about how the Federal Reserve may react with interest rate hikes. Fox News correspondent Alexandria Hoff reporting now from D.C.
That bag of groceries is a lot more expensive compared to this time last year, 13.5% more expensive.
Inflation is crushing lower and middle income families. It's absolutely demolishing them.
Despite energy prices falling, Americans are paying more for everyday essentials at the store, including eggs, milk, and meat. It's a key factor in the latest inflation report showing consumer prices jumped 8.3% compared to a year ago, lower than July, but higher than most economists expected. And that led to a stock market sell-off. President Biden says he's making progress in the fight against inflation, but it will take more time. At the White House Tuesday, he touted the recent passage of a climate, health care, and tax bill, claiming it will bring down costs for consumers.
We're going to lower prescription drug costs, lower health insurance costs, lower energy costs for millions of families.
Now all eyes are on Fed Chairman Jerome Powell to see how much the Federal Reserve will hike interest rates next week.
I think we can start taking off the table a soft landing. We've been in the hard landing camp all year. And now my biggest fear is they're going to tighten a lot more than they should.
More economic pressure looms with a possible railroad strike that could disrupt supply chains here at home. In Washington, Alexandria Hoff, Fox News.
Former Twitter employee appearing before the Senate Judiciary Committee today, and he claims Twitter is misleading the public on its alleged security flaws. Fox News congressional correspondent Chad Pergram has more.
Twitter leadership is misleading the public, lawmakers, regulators, and even its own board of directors.
Twitter's former security chief Peter Zatko tells Congress the social media platform faces numerous cybersecurity issues. In testimony before the Senate Judiciary Committee, Zatko claims Twitter is unaware of where its user data lives. He says the company has little protection against insider threats.
Anybody with access inside Twitter, and half the company has access to the production environment that has this, could go rooting through and find this information and use it for their own purposes.
In July, Zatko filed a whistleblower complaint laying out several allegations against the company. Among them, that Twitter violated a settlement with the Federal Trade Commission by falsely saying it had stronger security measures in place to protect users. The platform fired back, saying Zatko's complaints are, quote, riddled with inconsistencies and inaccuracies. Still, the allegations alarm senators.
Twitter is an immensely powerful platform that cannot afford gaping security vulnerabilities.
They have close to 2,000 employees in other countries whose job is to screen tweets by Americans.
Zatko also claims Twitter can't control millions of fake accounts on the platform. Tesla CEO Elon Musk made similar allegations as he tried to back out of a $44 billion deal to acquire the platform. Senators Lindsey Graham and Elizabeth Warren are working to create a regulatory commission to protect social media consumers. On Capitol Hill, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 and Fox 14 takes this time to honor another four-state hero. Bradley Freeland has served in the U.S. Army. Native of Carl Junction, Missouri, Freeland has been stationed in Iraq, and we are proud to thank and salute Private First Class Bradley Freeland. He's tonight's four-state hero. Doug Heddy's next with a complete look at the forecast a bit later. Seneca Indians preparing to host the Lamar Tigers in a battle of two undefeated teams. Going to hear from Seneca on Friday night's matchup with the Tigers in sports.
Well, of course, it turned out to be a nice Tuesday for us today. Temperatures pretty good. They were a little bit on the hot side as we approached 90 degrees for afternoon highs, which is kind of crazy. A nice shot, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort in Seneca, Missouri, but looks overall pretty good. So let's go outside. Clear skies across the region. If we look back at this month so far, it's been hot. Our temperatures have been just a notch above where we should be for this time of the year, but 9 days still above normal. At least we aren't seeing the extreme heat anymore that we did see really through a good chunk of the summer, late June, July, August, and we are still having an extreme drought, especially on the Kansas, Oklahoma side, a little sliver of southwestern Missouri. So we do need still some rain. We just don't really have a lot of chances in the forecast. Temperatures right now, most of us are sitting low to mid 70s. Case in point, Monette 70, 74 in Parsons. Fort Scott sitting at 76. Let's go outside. 74, 7th in range lines. Southerly winds are light. Humidity is at 50%. We have clear skies here. There's nothing going on. In fact, across the entire Central Plains, not much going on. You can see showers, thunderstorms out across parts of the Rockies. Still a little bit of the monsoon season. Also a very weak little wave kind of rotating up through parts of Wyoming and also Montana that will give us some clouds as we get a little bit farther down the road, but our rain chances just aren't that good. Waking up tomorrow morning early, 61, 83 by noon, 88 by 5, high temp of 90, so it's going to be hot, but we're going to be dry throughout the day on Wednesday. Let's go ahead and step through time. We'll go down the road over the next few days. Nice start, upper 50s, lower 60s. By noon, most of us will be into the low to mid 80s. By afternoon, we should be near 90, 87 in Stockton, 91 in Parsons, 91 in Yates Center, Grand Lake sitting at about 90, Anderson at about 87 degrees. Tomorrow night, a few mid-upper level clouds streaming in. We'll stop Thursday morning, near 60 again. Thursday afternoon, a lot of clouds, but temperatures overall still very similar, upper 80s to near 90 degrees. Not much in the way of moisture underneath these clouds. And then we go into Thursday night and Friday morning, still partly cloudy skies and dry across the region. That weak wave to our west, so by Friday, we'll produce some showers out across central Kansas, most likely staying west of the area. We may get a random shower in here, but I'm going to keep it dry for now. You can see Saturday, any rains up to the north. Much of the same on Sunday. It mainly stays just north, so it's kind of rotating around us, but chances just not good enough to give us any at this point in time, but something we'll keep our eyes on. 90 tomorrow, 89 on Thursday, 89 on Friday, near 90 again into the weekend. Hot and mainly dry.
Some more rain still.
Yeah, we could use it.
Okay, see you in a little bit. Thanks so much as always. Coming up, coming back to London.
Return to Buckingham Palace. I'm Mallory Rivera in London with more on her journey home coming up.
Share of children in poverty fell by nearly half last year, due mainly because of the enhanced child tax credit. Census Bureau data released today shows 5.2% of children lived in poverty in 2021. That's down from 9.7% the year before. The supplemental poverty rate for kids was the lowest on record since the measure began. A return home today for the late Queen Elizabeth as her coffin makes its way from Scotland back to London. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has the latest from London.
Her Majesty receiving a royal salute as the plane carrying her back home took off Tuesday evening. She leaves Scotland after thousands made the trip to St. Giles Cathedral to pay their respects. The late Queen then making a journey across London to Buckingham Palace, where she will rest overnight one last time. Crowds waiting outside the palace despite the rain to welcome the Queen home.
It's quite surreal, to be honest. It hit as soon as I walked in the area. It just hit me, and it makes you reflect.
On Wednesday, her coffin will be moved to Westminster Hall and will lie in state there until her funeral on Monday. People have already begun lining up in London along the River Thames, waiting for the chance to pay their respects to the Queen. Mourners prepared for the long wait.
It could rain, snow, hail. It doesn't really bother me. We're well prepared. And I'm just here to, because my heart is bringing me here today. And I just want to be able to experience and to say thank you once again for the Queen.
I don't know. I don't have words how I'm going to be feeling when I interview. So it's such a moment. I'll be great to be part of it.
Still ahead, pressures of the economy.
Inflation came in hotter this month than expected, but local businesses say they could have guessed it. I'm Madison Allworth in Newark, New Jersey. Coming up, I'll explain why small businesses are particularly feeling the pressure of inflation.
Fewer pets were neutered during the pandemic, and experts say it's now leading to overflowing animal shelters. Researchers at the University of Florida estimate nearly 3 million dogs and cats are missing spay and neuter surgeries, in part due to a nationwide shortage of veterinarians. Study authors add that staffing shortages at clinics and shelters, along with fewer pet adoptions, are also leading to overcrowding. Small business owners were already struggling with rising prices before today's higher than expected inflation report. Fox Business Network's Madison Allworth is talking to one of them at a shoe store in New Jersey.
Inflation continues to hammer small businesses. Not only do they feel it from an operational standpoint, but they're also seeing it from their customers. Noble has seen units per transaction go down, meaning people are still coming into the store to buy, but when they come in, they're buying less. They're doing that in order to budget during this inflationary environment. We saw inflation come in hotter this month than expected, but that's something that local businesses were anticipating. 77% say that inflation has gotten worse over the last 3 months. I'm here with Christine No, the owner of Noble. Apparel is up 0.2% month over month. As a local business, what are the things that are still driving up your costs?
So we're seeing it on both ends. Our consumers are being squeezed, whether it's because of gas prices or rising rents, et cetera. And then for us as a business, we're seeing it in terms of our supply channel. So the cost of goods has gone up tremendously. Manufacturers are having increased pricing that they're passing on to us. And for us also, we've seen an increase in fuel charges. So the delivery costs have gone up significantly to get goods landed, as well as a lot of pricing pressure to increase wages for our staff as well, because they're obviously impacted by the rising costs of everything.
So I talked about at the top that units per transaction have gone down. What about the amount on that receipt? How much are people spending on average when they come here? And what does that tell you about the customer today?
So we've seen an interesting dynamic this back to school where we've seen our average ticket values go down about 15%. But alternatively, we've actually seen the total number of receipts go up 20%. So what that tells me is that our customers are still here, they're coming, they're shopping, but they're just not able to purchase as much as they were able to previously. And so that each transaction is a little bit lower than what it was traditionally.
Thank you so much, Christine. You know, Americans have less discretionary dollars, which means they have less money to play with. And at the end of the day, it's the small businesses that feel that impact. In Newark, New Jersey, I'm Madison Allworth, Fox Business.
Up next, going to check out a new twist on a classic breakfast favorite. No milk? No problem. Kellogg's is reinventing breakfast with new products that practically turn water into milk. Notice the word practically there. The new Insta Bowls are pre-packaged disposable bowls of Raisin Bran Crunch, Fruit Loops, Apple Jacks, and Frosted Flakes that allows consumers to just add a pinch of cold water, give the bowl a stir, as you're seeing right there, and watch the instant milk appear. I'm going to stop right there because when I was reading the script during the commercial, someone in the studio said, "Ew, I don't trust that." The company says the product is, quote, a convenient way to enjoy fan favorite Kellogg's cereals outside of the kitchen. The Kellogg Insta Bowls are available now in the cereal aisle at your local Walmart store for $1. And sometimes my eyes play trick me. Well, let's see here, $1.98. All right, $1.98. There you go. You never know, right? It's convenient for families. You never know. All right, let's move on. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. Some tips to prevent those tick bites and the diseases that come with them.
Another day of big gains for the Ukrainian military as they continue a major counteroffensive against Russian forces. I'm Jeff Paul in Kyiv. I've got the details coming up.
Ticks are most active during the warm summer and fall months. KOAM's Yana Atala talked to a Joplin conservation specialist and naturalist about some tips on how to prevent ourselves from tick bites.
Ticks tend to live in environments where there are a lot of animals, especially here in Missouri.
It seems like when we see a large population of deer in an area, then it seems like we have a large population of ticks.
According to Missouri Department of Conservation, there are at least 6 different human tick-borne diseases that have been reported in Missouri.
Rocky Mountain spotted fever is one of the first ones people think about. Lyme's disease is another one people think about. And some of those diseases we may not have here in southwest Missouri, but we have diseases that replicate that.
Smith says with the research he has read, he learned these diseases can possibly still be prevented if people act quickly after noticing a tick.
A tick has to stay on you for about 24 to 48 hours before they'll transmit any type of disease.
With adult ticks, there also is a new group of ticks entering the environment. Seed ticks are becoming very common at this time of the year. These baby ticks are born in groups, and therefore people may find a lot of them curling up on their legs.
Sometimes you need a magnifying glass to be able to see them and get them because they're so small. And a lot of times they like to find your ankles, back of your knees, your waistband. So you may have to have somebody help you.
Even though the seed ticks are usually not spreading diseases, a naturalist from Wildcats Friends group agrees they are hard to notice.
Those I think are the tough ones because you might think it's a mole, but usually I think the best thing is to get a flashlight and to look because they'll kind of be shiny on your skin.
Jackson recommends always wearing covering clothes, especially for ankles when being in possible tick areas.
Keep a lint roller in your car. You would be surprised at how well those lint rollers will take things off of your pants, especially ticks.
In Joplin, Janna Hautala, KOAM News.
According to Smith, those ticks are going to be around until temperatures go below freezing. Cost of online goods continues to impact shoppers, with prices of food rising the most. According to Adobe Analytics, prices for groceries surged 14.1% in August compared with a year ago. It's the highest annual increase since the company started tracking prices. The data shows the cost of groceries has increased for 31 straight months, while the cost of clothes in August also jumped 8.7% from July. Online shopping has remained steady, and analysts believe prices will remain high as people become, they have more buying options steadily. So far in 2022, shoppers have already spent $580 billion online. Burger King, have your way, is planning to invest millions in restaurant upgrades and app upgrades. The fast food chain says they're going to invest more than $400 million in advertising, restaurant remodels, and tech improvements over the next 2 years. The company says $150 million will go toward advertising and digital changes, while $250 of that million is for restaurant technology, kitchen equipment, and remodels. Burger King says they'll also update their app and add this investment is intended to modernize the Burger King restaurant portfolio and improve the whole customer experience. Biden administration says it's in touch with freight railroads and their unions, urging them to come to some sort of a deal and prevent a strike by some 115,000 workers. A deadline to resolve a contract dispute is set for Friday. The head of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce said, quote, a national rail strike would be an economic disaster. It's estimated a work stoppage could cost the U.S. economy up to $2 billion a day. We're learning more from the Pentagon about Ukraine's lightning-fast counteroffensive that's had the Russian military reeling for much of the past week. Fox News correspondent Jeff Paul has more now from Ukraine.
The Ukrainians are on the move, extending their lightning-fast blitz against Russian forces in the northeast, capturing more territory on Monday and even reportedly pushing the Russians back across the border in some areas. The Ukrainian military is moving with speed that shocked the Russians and much of the world. But it's a different story in the south, where the counteroffensive is going more slowly, underscoring the difficulty of liberating all the areas currently under Moscow's control.
Obviously, Russian forces do exist en masse in Ukraine. Clearly, they've demonstrated their intent to keep fighting in Ukraine and to prolong their illegal occupation.
The Biden administration says it's approaching these new developments with cautious optimism, noting momentum has shifted in this war before and promising to continue sending arms shipments as long as the Ukrainians keep fighting.
We will continue to do what is necessary to support Ukraine, to maintain pressure on Russia so that it ends its aggression.
Meanwhile, we're seeing more signs of internal dissent in Russia. A growing number of lawmakers and media outlets criticizing the defense ministry for this week's losses, which could have an impact on Moscow's ability to project itself as a regional power.
Right now, with the way that the war in Ukraine is going, I see real limitations on Russia's capacity to reimpose itself.
Also on Tuesday, the Ukrainian military reporting for the first time it shot down an Iranian-made attack drone used by Russian forces. In Kyiv, Jeff Paul, Fox News.
A bit later, an idea that many say just sounds too good to be true.
Imagine a world without cancer. I'm Jackie Ibanez with a look at President Biden's new initiative.
I gotta love when the computer locks right before you get on there. All right, turned out to be a pretty good day for us today. Temperatures nice, right around 89 to 90 degrees, which we can handle because the humidity hasn't been that bad. Looks good right now. Nice shot, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, Indigo. Just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Let's look at the month so far. We've had a lot of 80s. Only one day in the 90s. We've pushed 90, but you can see all the red days. These are temperatures above normal. The blue days, temperatures just below normal. And we got a few showers, light showers over the weekend, Saturday night. We could use a little bit more. Still an extreme drought, Kansas, Oklahoma, parts of Jasper, and also Barton County in southwestern Missouri. It's gotten a lot better once you get down toward Branson, also Table Rock Lake. Temperatures, pretty good. Anywhere from 68 in Miami, 69 in Anderson. Fort Scott sitting at 76 degrees. Let's go outside, 7th and range line. 74, clear skies, humidity at about 50%. Nothing going on here. The entire Central Plains look pretty good. You have to travel all the way into the Rockies before you even find really any clouds. Showers, thunderstorms out there. There is a weak little wave. It's kind of lifting into the northern parts of the plains, and it may bring a random shower, at least close to us, by Friday, but the chances are so low at this point in time. By morning, 61, 83 by noon, 88 by 5, high temp right around 90 degrees. So let's go ahead, step through time through the overnight hours for us tonight, starting very comfortable right around 60. As we go through the morning, we'll stop at noon. Most of us are sitting low to mid 80s, 84 in Independence, Yates Center about 85 by the noon hour. By the afternoon hours, upper 80s, Lamar 80, 89, Pittsburgh about 89, 90 in Miami. Chanute checking in at about 91 degrees. So it's going to be hot, but at least we don't have the humidity once again. Partly cloudy skies for us tomorrow night. These are going to be mid and upper level clouds, nothing really underneath them. Here's Thursday afternoon, still partly sunny skies. High temps right around 90 degrees, so we don't really have much in the way of rain chances, but we are going to get some clouds in here as we go through the next few days. Rain gets a little bit closer. Here's Friday, maybe an isolated random shower, mainly stays to our north. We're going into Saturday. Saturday night, maybe an isolated shower, but as of right now, and then we go into Sunday, pretty much dry. I'm going to keep the forecast dry, but something we'll keep our eyes on over the next few days. 90 tomorrow, 89 on Thursday, 89 on Friday, 91 Saturday, high temp of about 92 on Sunday.
I would say when the technology starts acting up, it's time for a weekend.
Yeah.
It's just time to go
It's always
home.
time for a weekend.
Yeah. Doug Heddy, thank you so much. Going from a drought here to this story. The mud is flowing after drenching rains unleashed torrents of debris in a mountain area east of Los Angeles. The heavy downfalls were remnants of a tropical storm that brought badly needed rain to drought-stricken California. Reporter Dina Demetrius has more now from Los Angeles.
An avalanche of mud poured into the town of Oak Glen, California after heavy rain sent parts of the hillsides crashing down in the San Bernardino Mountains. Thousands of residents are either under evacuation orders or being urged to shelter in place.
We had a large cell come through, which created multiple mudslides, which we had major damage to the infrastructure of the area and structures as well.
Nearly 2.5 inches of rain pounded the area Monday night, triggering flash floods that loosened mud and debris. The mudslides took out homes and vehicles and shut down part of a highway.
Then everybody's stuck.
The area is especially susceptible to mudslides because of burn scars left from a 2020 wildfire. There's little vegetation left to hold the soil in place. The tiny town of Forest Falls was hit hard for the second time in 3 weeks.
Part of life. It's part of living in the mountain. If you want to live in paradise, there's always some kind of consequence.
Heavy equipment is clearing the mess. Police are also going door to door to make sure no one is trapped.
It's a wall of mud, and the water was coming down hard.
In Los Angeles County, another mudslide swamped cars in the Lake Hughes area of the Angeles National Forest. At least 25 people were rescued from their vehicles.
It wasn't like the cars were driving thinking, hey, I got this. It was, oh my God, here comes the mud.
This latest round of wild weather comes on the heels of Tropical Storm K, and that followed a record-long heat wave.
Goodness. All right, coming up in sports, Seneca Indians preparing for a Big 8 conference showdown with Lamar, plus Kansas City Chiefs getting ready for a Thursday night matchup with those Chargers. Gonna hear from the Chiefs after this break.
Ashley. The Seneca Indians are off to a hot start to the football season.
Seneca is 3-0 in their first 3 games, outscoring their opponents 151-15. Now this week, the big test for the Indians. They'll hit the field against Lamar on Friday. The Tigers are also undefeated, sitting at 3-0, ranked number 1 in the state in Class 2. Now we caught up with the Indians today to talk about taking their shot at Lamar and getting to do it in front of their home crowd.
It's a great atmosphere here every Friday night, but when you combine bringing the number 1 team in the state down and us being 3-0, it's going to be pretty cool.
It's awesome. I think every Friday they always come out and support no matter what. I think having a community is probably one of the greatest things about high school football, and especially having a community like Seneca. I think this week will probably be one of the biggest games that a lot of people have been to in the past couple of years. So I'm looking forward to seeing how many people turn out and giving them a show.
The Kansas City Chiefs won their season opener on Sunday, blowing out the Arizona Cardinals 44-21. This week, it's a short week for the Chiefs. They got to turn right around and play again on Thursday, hosting the Los Angeles Chargers for their home opener. Now the Chargers, like the Chiefs, also 1-0. Now it is a short week, but the good news for the Chiefs is they face the Chargers twice a year, so they kind of already know a lot about what they're going to see on Thursday night.
Definitely helps for short weeks like this week that we spent some time on them in the off season, and that we kind of went over their defense and the rules of their defense and stuff like that. But you still have to jump into it. I mean, it's a short week, a few late nights, a lot of time up at the building. But you have to be prepared because they have a really good defense, and we have to go out there and execute if we want to find a way to win.
The St. Louis Cardinals open a series tonight at home against the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, coming into the day, Cards are in a pretty good spot with an 8-game lead in the NL Central. Plus, Albert Pujols has a chance to get a little closer to making history tonight. Pujols, 697 career home runs with 21 games left in the regular season. Now tonight, Pujols is 1 for 3 with an RBI single in the game. But right now, Milwaukee leads at 8-4 in the bottom of the 8th. Kansas City Royals also in action tonight. They're on the road for their series opener against the Minnesota Twins, and that one is actually final already. Minnesota wins at 6-3. Bobby Witt Jr. 1 for 4 on the evening for the Royals with a double and an RBI. And that's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
Concussion can impact performance in the classroom. A new study in the journal Injury Prevention found that adolescents with a concussion in the last 12 months were 25% more likely to be in poor academic standing at school. The study analyzed more than 10,000 American high schoolers, and nearly 15% reported at least one concussion in the last year. Eating your meals during the day instead of at night could help improve that mental health you got going on. A study from Brigham and Women's Hospital found that nighttime eating increased depression by as much as 26% and anxiety by as much as 16%. Researchers say the data is especially important for shift workers who often work odd hours and may experience a 25 to 40% higher risk of mental health concerns. Biden administration launching new initiatives to eradicate cancer. Fox News correspondent Jackie Bonez takes a closer look at what the president says needs to happen in order to make this dream a reality.
It doesn't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. Beating cancer is something we can do together.
President Biden calling on Americans to unify against a disease that knows no party lines. Proclaiming at the John F. Kennedy Presidential Library and Museum in Boston Monday that his administration is working to end cancer as we know it.
The goal is to cut cancer death rates by at least 50% in the next 25 years.
This year alone, the American Cancer Society estimates there will be 1.9 million new diagnosed cancer cases, with more than 600,000 cancer-related deaths. But Biden believes it's possible to turn a cancer diagnosis from a death sentence to a chronic disease that can be better prevented and managed.
I'm calling on the private sector to develop and test new treatments, share more data and knowledge that can inform the public and benefit every company's research.
To do that, the president is calling for advancements in therapeutics, like using mRNA vaccine technology used in many COVID-19 vaccines to potentially stop the spread of cancer cells.
We're learning more about how to use genetics, immune response, and other factors,
as well as advocating for lower-cost treatments to help prevent healthcare inequities. But as the Biden administration aims to tackle cancer, a new Associated Press NORC poll finds a glaring dissatisfaction with the overall U.S. healthcare system, revealing less than half of Americans think it's handled well. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.
All right, coming up, we're going to check out who took home those prizes at last night's Emmy Awards. The biggest stars of the small screen celebrated the 74th Emmy Awards in Hollywood. We have a recap of the winners, highlights, and history-making moments. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Succession.
Round 3 was a charm for the Roys. Succession took top prize of Best Drama Series at the 74th Emmys.
Anyone who has loved a Rue or feels like they are a Rue, I want you to know that I'm so grateful for your stories.
The drama category held historic wins. Zendaya won Outstanding Lead Actress for Euphoria. She's the first black woman to win that twice and the youngest two-time Emmy winner ever. Lee Jung-jae of Squid Game is the first Asian actor to win lead actor in a drama series. Supporting actress in a drama series went to Julia Garner for scene-stealing Ruth in Ozark.
Ted Lasso!
Ted Lasso scored more trophies for the team with Outstanding Comedy Series, lead actor Jason Sudeikis, and supporting actor Brett Goldstein. Hacks Jean Smart took the lead actress Mike. Abbott Elementary's Cheryl Lee Ralph delivered a show-stopping moment accepting comedy supporting actress. Series creator Quinta Brunson won for writing and is the second black female writer to do so.
The White Lotus!
In the bingeable, limited, or anthology series or movie group, The White Lotus checks out with the gold and individual honors for Murray Bartlett and Jennifer Coolidge, the latter showing how it's done when music tries to play you off stage.
It's the Emmy Awards!
Small Screen's big celebration was hosted by Kenan Thompson. The Governor's Award went to the Gina Davis Institute on Gender and Media.
This is for the big girls!
And superstar appearances included Lizzo, who won for Watch Out for the Big Girls in Competition program. Added to her Grammys, Lizzo is now a step closer to an EGOT and one of many first-time winners on TV's biggest night. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. As always, going to leave you with video of some newborn jaguar cubs in Argentina. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. Yeah, get some snuggle time. See you tomorrow.